Cool. Okay. So your homework was really good. And I just want to go over a few things on it. On the first questions on Baba Nikos, one of the things that a lot of people kind of overlooked, and it's really important. It wasn't just Greek on Greek, it was all European ethnics going against their own groups. Okay. So we sometimes use the term wrongly, Latinx or Hispanic as one group. And sometimes, but we would never do so with white Europeans. But in this case, these were all first generation. So that was a little picky point of mine that bothered me. I'm in the wrong class. I'm trying to pick up the thing. On Teresa, on the one of the other questions, her conflict was some of you got one side of it and some of you got the other side of it. I'm looking over here because I can't stand to watch Giselle eat anymore. And also, that's where my other screen happens to be. She was torn between her family that wanted her to succeed at all cost, and people like Teresa that felt that she was betraying people by doing good in school, doing well in school. I think people did really well on the second question is how did they reflect? A question that none of you answered, but in fairness, I don't have the answer to either. I don't understand that why, as a kid, he went back, Petrakis. And who was I talking to before that used the word heart? Yeah, Krista. I think Krista might have hit on it. Say that again. Tell me again.
I said that he has a heart. I don't think he was really into that, like the gang life. I don't think he's that type of kid. He was that type of kid at the time, so he went back and he has a conscience, pretty much. Like it bothered him, like I think. So that's why he went back.
Yeah. Christopher, you still with us? Yep. He moved. Just rotate your head from time to time so I know you're not dead. You look so comfortable. Yeah, and I think Krista's point is right. I've been struggling with that for a long time because I don't know the answer. Giselle. Oh, wait, that's the next question. No, Giselle, what was the irony of the school name?
The Alamo, which was like the Mexican and what, Texas, I think, the revolution. So it also, like, the girls kind of represent that they're fighting, like Mexico and Texas. So
Yeah,
that the name came from.
yeah. And she said the Alamo, which had to be its name. How many of you heard of the Battle of the Alamo? Karen, what do you know about?
Nothing. I just heard of it.
Okay, 1836. Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, California, New Mexico, did I say? Were all part of Mexico. Mexico had banned immigrants from the United States as in 1830. We're going to go through all this later on. So the immigrants, and I'm saying immigrants from the United States, started moving into Texas and starting up cotton plantations. So in 1836, Mexico said, get out of our house. And so there was a battle. And the Texans under a guy named Colonel Travis holed up in a place called the Alamo. What's the biggest city in Texas? Robert, your mic's off. On.
Is it Dallas?
No, Mavericks. It is the Rockets.
Houston?
Bingo. Sam Houston was the president and the general. Travis was his rival. So 10,000 Mexicans surrounded 196 invaders. Okay. And it was in an old chapel called the Alamo. And for 10 days, they held him off. Travis sent to Houston asking for help. Houston was within 12 miles and stopped. Two reasons for that. He thought, A, they would be better off to have martyrs. And two, he really wanted to get rid of Travis. And he did. Everybody was killed. So the war cry became "Remember the Alamo." A victory for, Texas won the war. The Americans won the war and took Texas, not those other states yet. And "Remember the Alamo" became a very disparaging term against Mexicans. And so having to go to a school that symbolized the end of Texas sovereignty over a Mexican sovereignty over Texas had to be an insult. Okay, now switching back and forth between two languages. Who is that, Giselle?
That's my sister.
Okay. I'm switching back and forth between two languages. A lot of you got this right. And again, I'm so jealous of people that are bilingual or trilingual. When did she do it in the poem? Well, at what points did she use Spanish and what points did she use English? And a lot of you had great answers for this.
I feel like she started speaking Spanish when she was speaking directly to Teresa, to have that heart to heart with her, and to let her know like she meant what she was saying.
Yeah, that was part of it. Now let's expand that a little more. When she talked about her parents or her grandparents, she spoke in Spanish. When she talked about very emotional things, she spoke in Spanish. And other times she spoke in English. Giselle, when your mother yells at you, what language does she use?
Spanish.
Uh-huh. Okay. So that's really important about the switching back and forth. And it's such a beautiful thing. What does Hernandez mean at age 28 when that she and Teresa were similar? What do they have in common as kids? A lot of you got this right. Go ahead, Karen.
They basically had the same struggle, but they had the same aspiration to prove like to those around them, but they just chose different paths.
Yeah, they were both struggling against the stereotype, which was to be good in school and do mediocre. So Teresa became, the all decked out one who would be that person. And Teresa went way, way, way above expectations. So when she says we were both rebelling in our own way, I who could not fight went one way, you who could fight went a different way. Do you think at the end when she says, Teresa, we are sisters, now I understand you, if Teresa was even alive, if she read that, she would buy that? I don't think so. But it's a nice dream to have. And a lot of what you guys wrote in the last one was private, and I will respect that privacy, but feel free to share that at future classes. Now, you have an assignment due tomorrow night or tonight? Whatever. It's the one paragraph on what your topic is for your ethnography, and it just has to be the topic for your paper. Look at the guidelines for the paper and then write a paragraph about what you're going to do. Don't give me any conclusions. Okay? And it has to be a group other than your own. Okay? Because I want you to get outside yourself. If you're in my anthropology class, you could do your own. Some of you are. So other than your own. This comes up a lot now. If somebody is, let's think of a god-awful country, Guatemala. Guatemalans could do it on some other culture in Central or South America, but not Guatemala. But I don't want you to do your own. Okay? So no class on Monday, but classes on Wednesday. What?
So where do we hand it in? Because I'm clicking on this.
Yeah, I'll stop it. It'll be there in 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry. You can't announce something and not have it ready.